What's up, y'all? You know who it is, your boy JP the Install Guy, hoping to make your install life a little bit easier. Today we have a 2011 Toyota Camry, and I'm going to actually show you guys how to install a Viper DS4 remote start. If these are the type of things that you're into, please consider subscribing, because this is what we do here at this channel: car audio tutorials, reviews, Q&As, anything car audio install related. That's what the channel is about. And from time to time, I like to share my car audio knowledge, so whether you're a beginner or advanced, this channel is for you. So now we're here with the remote start. It is a Viper DS4. I got it plugged into the computer, and I just went to the DirectText website. This is a website by Directed. You guys can usually create just like a user account. Then I'm gonna go over here to this little button. We use that to flag. It's gonna detect, boom, start new. We're just doing a remote start by itself. It is a 2011 Toyota Camry, but we do have the G key, so we need to let them know that. Let us know that's the firmware that we should be using. Automatic transmission. We're not using, I should have told y'all the difference between those two. Either way, the one that we just came from, the little screen, there were two different sensors. One is a temperature sensor that was over here that I automatically clicked. If you guys did like an add-on alarm, it will come with the other sensor, so you would have to click that one. Now this one does it to where you can hit lock 3 times on the factory key fob and it'll remote start. We will put yes. Anytime that option comes up, I just go ahead and accept it. Put the right remote. Next. Flash. Alright, from here we need to look at the install guide. Alright, so when you guys are doing your remote starts, go by the guide. For remote start that's been newly made, that has the actual bypass module inside of it, is only going to give you the brain itself. It's going to give you the antenna, the key fob, the antenna cable, and maybe the sensor that goes with it. You have to get the vehicle specific T-harness that goes with your vehicle. Now, if your vehicle does not have a T-harness, you will have a universal harness that you can get that comes with all those wires that used to come with this, but now you get exactly what you need and you don't have to throw away stuff that you're not going to use. So with this Toyota Camry 2011, we are using the THTON9, and the firmware that we're using is the TL7 firmware. So here is our THTON9, and we're going to stretch this thing out, cut away stuff that we're not going to need, and we're going to go specifically by this harness right here. Now, if you look, these fuse placements is very important, because these will always be in the same place, but this blue 15, you're either going to put it on this side, on that side, or you're not going to use it. Here is saying that we're going to ride it in line, so let's go ahead and just put that in right there. Alright, so that's that part. Now, what I like to do is like to go ahead and hook up all of my stuff to the remote start, stretch it out, and cut away the stuff that we don't need. Alright, so first thing we want to look at is which loops do we need to cut, because these are all the loops that we have right here. They are labeled. Now, some of these aren't labeled. You don't need to worry about those, because it's only going to tell you to cut the ones that it's gonna label the ones that you need to cut. So if it don't say don't cut it, then don't worry about it. So right here it says the violet with the white stripe loop, we need to cut that, and it's going to be labeled tack. That's going to be this one right here. That is the tachometer. Pretty much monitors the RPM in the vehicle. So we're going to cut that loop, so that's no longer connected. I think that's the only one other than this one. So we're going to have an RDA, and we're going to have to find out where in the car that actually goes to. It says see the body ECU connector. I'll have to check that out, but it says we do have to cut that and extend it. So there's going to be orange with the black stripe. Orange with the black stripe. We're going to cut it, and I usually like to pull back the tester tape a little bit to find out which one of these ends is closer to the connector, because that's the one that needs to get extended. We don't need the one on this side because it's not going to be going to the brain, so you do need to make sure that the wire is closest to the brain. And as you can see, I just stretched these two out, and we can tell that this one is coming from that way, this one's coming from that way. So you can leave this long, you can cut it if you want to. I'm going to cut it so I don't get confused on which one that I actually have to extend, or you can just go ahead and extend this one and leave that one the same. But either way, we're good to go. We are soldering all connections, especially when you're dealing with a remote start. Make sure you solder those connections. This is just to extend the RDA wire, and we don't know exactly where we're going, so I got a pretty good length, like maybe 4 feet. So we need a light green white, we need a light green, and we need a light green and black. We're not hooking up the siren because we're not doing an alarm, and we only need the gray if we're hooking up a aftermarket hood pin. If this has a factory hood pin, we don't have to worry about it. All right, these are going to be for the auto light interrupt and the parking light. So we have a light green with a white stripe, we have a light green with a black stripe, and we have the light green white, light green black, and light green. We do not need the blue and white, so we're going to cut this blue and white away because we don't need it. And if those are the only wires that we have to hook up, 1, 2, 3, and 4, then it means all this other stuff we can clean up, zip tie, and cut away, so it's just not messy. This one right here with the heavy gauge stuff on it, that connector is right there. So I'm literally just gonna pull that boy down. So as you can see, we went ahead and plugged the T-harness part in. That's the male end going to that one, and then from the car going into the female side from the actual T-harness connector. All right, so we got 2 more connections. Well, probably 3 more connections. This is the T-harness for the OBD2 port. It is actually, that's the connector in the, well, let's see if I can show it. Yeah, so that's where it's supposed to be at. I just popped it out. And you want to put the OBD2 T-harness part, connect those together, and then put the male end back here so somebody can still scan it. All right, so now we have our ignition harness done. We have the OBD2 harness done, which is this one right here. They're only T harness. Now we have to tap into our headlight switch. That's why we had to take this part off. If you notice, when I do this, you see the light mark right there that came on. When I do that, it goes away. If I unplug this harness and do that, it does nothing. So that's how I know this is the headlight switch. So it says we're going to be looking for a 20-pin white plug. Pin 19 should be green, pin 18 should be black. That is our 20-pin plug. This is going to be 20, 19 is green, 18 right next to it is black. Those are the 2 connections that we have to make next. So here it says that we need to tap into the black wire and we need to cut the green wire. The light green needs to go to the connector side. The light green with the white stripe needs to go to the vehicle side. And this is what that looks like. We have used our wire strippers to strip that wire back, and we have our light green with the black stripe going to the black wire doing the military splice. We will end up soldering all these connections and taping them up to insulate them. And the green wire, we have cut it in half to these 2 pieces. The connector side said that it needed to be the solid light green wire. This is solid light green going to the connector side, and since this side is going to the car, you need the light green with the white stripe right here going to the car side. Now we're going to go ahead and solder all these connections, get them insulated, and then we literally only have 1 more wire, which is the one that we extended for the RDA. I think it's going to be behind this on a 28-pin connector. Pin number 12 is going to be a blue wire, so we're going to have to look for that. If you guys can see, this is the back of the fuse box. where I pulled that harness out of. I counted the pins. The pins did come out to be 28. Yellow one is number 1. The purple one is number 10. So that means we come down here. There's another slot that's empty, and then at number 12 is going to be that blue wire. That's where I tapped off of the RDA, and we're going to go ahead and plug that in. This is very uncomfortable. So the thing about hitting them type of wires like that you can't see and you don't have a picture or nothing like that, go off the pins, go off the color. Hopefully they're pinned right and the color is the exact same. And if it don't work, you know it won't work because it won't program right. So let's hope that it programs right, because that's literally all that we have to do. Let's go ahead and hook it up and see what happens. Alright, so I did have everything disconnected, and now we want to go to the programming part now that all of our connections are done. With the Viper, you want to actually plug in the black one first. It should go solid blue, then solid red. Alright, now we can plug everything else up. Alright, so now that we've got the solid red, everything else is pretty easy. With this vehicle, we're just going to stick the key in, turn it to the on position. It should go solid green for 3 seconds, then cut off. If it does that, then everything programmed properly, and we just got to take the ignition out. Alright, y'all, that's it. Solid green for 3 seconds. After the flashing green, turn off. Let's go ahead and take this out. To go ahead and hook up the antenna and the sensor, program my remotes. We will do our lock, unlock, and remote start testing right here before we actually make everything look all pretty and zip tied up and all of that. We want to make sure that it works. Alright, this is the part that seems to trip up a lot of people when you're installing your own stuff. It's actually programming the remote. So on this part, this is your antenna and your valet switch. When we turn the car on, you have 5 seconds to press this, release it, press and hold, and then this blue light is going to start flashing. Once it's flashing, that's going to put it in pairing mode. Once in pairing mode, we can actually do the remote part, which is where you want to press it 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to hold it on the 3rd time. It's going to go solid orange, and you're gonna have to hold it for probably about 15 seconds. Then it's gonna go beep, 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 beep. Then once it does that, you let it go, press it 1 time. It's gonna pair itself, cut off, then you turn the car off, and you're good to go. All right, so let's go through it. Key in the ignition. Press, hold. Flashing. Dang, I messed that up. All right, hold on. Solid orange. Press it 1 more time. All right, that's it. All right. So pressing it once should lock it. Pressing it twice should unlock it. Press and holding it till you see the orange flash to give us remote start. Should be able to press and hold to turn it off. And that's it, man.